Hi. Over the last year and a half or so since COVID started, I have put out a number of videos that I've sent to the parish. Some have been spiritual, I've even prayed with you. Some have been kind of more devotional or consoling during COVID time. Some have been a little more instructional, even giving you a tour of this residence that most had never seen. And yet, what was the most popular video? When I cooked that Creole dish. More people made that Creole dish, and more people have said to me, Father Lent, when are you gonna cook again? So this may be, well, certainly be my last video as pastor. This is Wednesday afternoon, and I won't even be sleeping here tonight. This is the day I'll be moving so that tomorrow carpets can be cleaned and the place can be readied for Father Tony. Thursday of this week, of course, is my last official day. The weekend was great. I was so grateful for so many people who lined up and were patient and wanted to say goodbye, and I've gotten so many great expressions of gratitude. So here we are. What am I going to do today? I'm going to make either, whatever you want to call it. Most people call it a calzone. Some call it a stromboli. When I was at Holy Spirit on the west side, Pepino's was right down the street, and I lived alone, and so rather than buying a pizza, they called it a stromboli. When I went to Spring Lake, it was at Marco's, which is a chain, was right down the street, and here it's been at Vitale's, although I have to admit that just recently, somebody said to me, you know, these strombolis, calzones, whatever you want to call them, they're not very hard to make, not very difficult at all. And I started looking around on how to do this, and the recommendation was to start with Trader Joe's pizza dough. So they come in little bags like this at Trader Joe's, a couple bucks, $3 or something like that. And it works well. I did buy some kind of a pizza dough at Meyer. It wasn't quite as good. It wasn't their brand or anything. But Trader Joe's. So what you do, put a little flour down. I'm going to miss this granite because you can do all kinds of things that's working on granite. And I am going to make my dough for my, I've always called it stromboli because they're probably starting at Pepino's. And I am going to kind of work it right here. Didn't I Love Lucy do something like this once, right? She making pizza or something. Kind of reminds me of Lucy. So anyway, we'll put it in a little flour in here, and then I get my rolling pin, and I am going to begin working out. Whoops. The nice thing about making a stromboli or calzone as opposed to pizza is that you don't have to worry about it being round because you're going to fold it. And so you just kind of, when it comes time to fold, you say, now, what's the best way to fold this thing? And it doesn't have to be perfectly, I think a pizza, if you're doing pizza, you want it pretty round so it has to fit on that pizza tray or whatever you're doing. Although some people just have a pizza grill. So I've never really made pizza, but I've been doing this. So, we're doing okay. Flip it one more time, maybe. I did wash my hands before I did this. Okay, I think we're getting there pretty good. Yeah, now we're getting there. Pretty good size. I think I'm liking this. This is about right. Okay. Like I say, not perfectly round by any means, but I'm probably, when I look at it, I'm going to fold it this way. Probably this way, I think. All right, not too bad. Now, this is the first time I made this. I don't think I had to shop for anything. I just used what was in my refrigerator. And I always have some bagged cheese. So same kind of thing. I'm gonna start with a little layer of Parmesan, just shredded Parmesan. You know, I don't worry about the most expensive ingredients. With some Parmesan, when I went to Spring Lake as pastor 16 years ago, everybody in the parish would ask me, do you like onions, Father? Do you eat onions? It was the strangest question. But the pastor before me didn't like onions, so they thought it was something that went with priesthood. I love onions with anything and everything. And so, for me, I'll put a little layer of chopped onions on here, and then I usually have some ham, some Myers ham, you know, sliced ham in my refrigerator. So I'm just going to slice it in these strips. So just something like this. Yeah. Strips of ham. Should have some Italian music in the background, right? My last weekend in the parish, they did a lot of songs they knew I liked. It was great last weekend. All right, and what next? You know, mozzarella is really the main cheese for pizza or any of these things. So I have mozzarella, and then I have pepperoni. Pepperoni. My refrigerator, by the way, I don't know if you can see in here, it is pretty empty. I'm moving. I'm not leaving much. In fact, if Stacy turned around the camera, the walls are empty. My cat Matilda is freaking out. She doesn't know what's going on, and she doesn't know that she is getting moved today. And moving is always traumatic for cats. There's a way you have to do it. Just have to put them in little spaces. Just tiny spaces, so they're not freaked out. So she'll be close to Daddy. She'll be in my bedroom for sure the first day. Okay, I usually just put a little sauce. I don't do a lot of sauce, either a pizza sauce, and once again, this is just marinara because it's what I had in my fridge. And so I'm just going to put some of this on. It's getting there. Now I have the oven on, and when I've told people about making this, I have an electric oven here, and I said, if I put the oven is 475, pretty hot. So if you do the oven, when I push the button for the oven to heat up, I usually make the stromboli, calzone, quicker than it takes the oven to heat. Just gonna fold it over. Pretty nice, okay. And pinch it. Now, I heard somebody more than one person use the term bready. I'm a bready. If you love your bread, this is why you love these things, because the bread is so cool, so good. slits, and I am going to drizzle a little olive oil on here. Just a little bit. Come on. Drop some olive oil. Now at 475, this is only 15 minutes in the oven. We're not quite at 475 yet. We're getting close. I always like to, I found parchment paper. I've only discovered parchment paper a couple of years ago, and parchment paper is really nice for a lot of things. I never cooked a lot of fish, but once I started a little bit, oh yeah, and parchment paper in the oven, and more I found myself using it for different things when I cook. And so finally, I think we even have, probably want this. Let's see how we do with this. Just like that. All right. Okay. We are at 445 degrees in the oven. So just be a few more minutes. So in the meantime, what would you like me to tell you? Father Tony Russo, I've known for years. In fact, he grew up on the west side. And when I was first at Holy Spirit, his father was the cross bearer. We had a big cross. It had to be a huge cross, big heavy cross. So it usually had to be somebody who could handle it. And his dad cut hair. His dad would cut my hair. He always wanted to cut my hair in his living room, like at 9 o'clock at night. And then you always had to stay for ice cream. His dad died tragically in a car accident. I think he had one of those sleep things where he could easily fall asleep. He worked at Panopolis, and he was making his way home and just went off the road into a tree. I believe that Father Tony's father was his first funeral. How sad is that? My gosh, how tragic is that? And his mom, I knew his mom just died in the last year or so. But he's a good guy, very energetic, very vibrant, fun, good, just enthusiastic. So I am sure you'll love Father Tony. And so we're getting very close, I think close enough. It's 470 degrees. So this will go in the oven for 15 minutes. After it cooks, we'll be back and I will cut it open. And if it looks good, I'll send out the video. And if it doesn't, you'll never know I made it. Ha ha ha. All right, 15 minutes is up, and here it is, pretty golden brown. How do I want to do it? Let's see. We're gonna share this with the camera person, and basically, it's gonna look about like this. Here we go. So I will, like this, and bigger piece for me because she insisted. And there we are. Little dipping sauce, parchment paper, nice, no mess. Here you go. Little. Whatever. Oh, bread, same bread. Maybe a little marinara sauce and That's it.
Okay. Is that a wrap?
Mm-hmm.
That's a wrap.